Welcome to Rose City, the After Show, the podcast where we dive into the popular novel Rose City by author Karina Q. In each episode, we will be discussing a different aspect of the book, from the complex characters to the intricate plot twists and everything in between. Check out Rose City on Kindle Vella to stay up to date as we explore unique perspectives and insights on the story. Good morning, ladies. How are you doing?
Slightly different setup, so I'm adjusting, but good.
What about you, Miss Curie?
I am great.
Awesome. Okay, so the icebreaker question that we have for today, and me and Carrie was talking about it this morning because we were like, what would be like a good icebreaker question? And I was like, let's get into the mind of Alicia real quick since she's not here. And Alicia wants to know when they smashing. Like, that's not the question, but that's what we know. At least that's what's on Alicia's mind. Okay. So the question is, if you invite somebody that you're talking to or in a relationship with, even though it's still a brand new situation, if you invite them to spend the night, is sex expected? Is that what's on the menu along with dinner? Or should that be discussed before assumptions are made? Ladies, weigh in.
If you are going over there just for a dinner, just to chill, whatever, cool. If you guys are discussing overnight bags, we know what that is. So, absolutely, yes. If you're staying over. Now, I'm not, if you're drinking a little too much, you pass out, or, that's one thing. But even then, at some point, you got to wake up. So, yes, if you're going over to somebody's house to stay the night with, especially in this situation, yes, absolutely yes. And I know I'll probably get some hate for that, but yes.
Absolutely not. Y'all know me. I'm not going nowhere at nobody's house, and I'm not inviting anybody over to mine. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you guys, because how long have y'all been in a relationship? Because if it hasn't been like over a year or whatever, like, I mean, everybody's different though. Like, I have trust issues. So everybody doesn't have trust issues. Maybe you're comfortable with this person to be inviting and then be going to their house, but for me, absolutely not. Don't ask to come to my house because I might ghost you, and don't expect me to come to yours because I might ghost you. That's just coming on a bit strong for me. Let's just go out, have coffee, have milk, go to the park, just get to know each other for a while before, because you never know what's going to happen at somebody's house, right? I don't know. It's real sketchy for me. I ain't gonna be no spending the night because when I was dating, I wouldn't even talk to people after 9 o'clock because I mean those conversations, those thoughts in your brain, everything goes south. So if you spending the night, you might as well plan to go south too because that's usually what things happen.
Okay, well, for me, maybe I take a little bit of like the naive approach. And you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna take the male approach. Just if it happens, it happens. Just let it flow naturally, right? Because I just feel like if we are newly in a relationship and it hasn't gone to that level yet, but you're spending the night, are we gonna do this? Like when we gonna do it? Because I'm at a stage in my life, if we gonna do it, it's definitely gonna have to be planned. It's gonna be nice too. Like it can't just be some randomness. Like, it'd be nice for us, right? So, but yeah, I don't think that just because somebody spends the night, automatically you should be expecting the box. Yes, again, I'm not a guy, so I do think that if a woman asks a guy to spend the night, is he wrong for assuming? I don't think we should assume, but curious said yes. At least he's like, I don't think so. Let's make sure we have a conversation. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Cause like, what if you're down for it? And I'm like, but we're still getting to know each other. I mean, are you gonna grab your hoe bag and run off? Like, are you gonna be mad? Like, because I do know I had a conversation with one of my brothers, and he was talking to a young lady. They had only been talking like 3 weeks, whatever. And so they had decided to stay and do dinner and a movie, I guess Netflix and chill, without the extra chill, you know? And so she had, invited him, you know what I'm saying, to stay the night. And so he was just like, okay, like, what's up? And she's like, oh, I don't want to do that. And, but I want to cuddle with you tonight. Like, I want to lay here with you. And so and he was like, okay, man. So he got up and grabbed his clothes. You just left? He was like, and come over to cuddle with her. I could have cuddled on the couch. I'm leaving. I think he left, but I also think he called somebody else to see like who was still awake because he had plans of Pound Town. He going to go to Pound Town. Um, I think for a lot of women, and again, I can only speak for women because I know men will have a different perspective. And my allergies are bothering me, so I'm sorry if I'm wiping my nose. I think men have a different perspective, but I think for women, like you want to feel safe with somebody, and I don't. Like some people will say, well, if you want to feel safe, why are you sleeping in bed with them? Because at some point, I'm probably gonna have to sleep in bed with you if this relationship's gonna prolong. But it would be nice to just know that if I'm down, I'm down. But if like I don't feel good or maybe I had too much to drink and now I'm feeling sick, like you're gonna be there. You're not gonna just grab your things and get an attitude and run off. But like, you might like pat my back or make sure I'm good, whatever. But my most important thing is I want to make sure I'm safe with you. I want to make sure I want to be able to be in bed with you. And it's not all about like what's between them, them sexy thick thighs, You'll find out at some point, maybe, if you play your cards right. But maybe. But I think it's definitely really important to be able to be together, and sex is not always the expectation. Because I think that even being married, I think people can have this assumption that it's going to happen, every day. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But it's just nice to know that a person is here for me, not here for the box. The box comes with the relationship, of course, but I'm a person outside of a box. Like you're gonna have to spend more time with me and my personality than you're gonna spend time with the box. Like you know what I mean? Like you're gonna be around me more than that. So I don't know. I think maybe I have a naive approach, but what I would say smart. Don't invite somebody over and not have that conversation first. Lucy is like, and that's where we at. I do think that in this day and age, people do assume that I'm very direct, and sometimes I'm too direct, right? And I have to watch myself because I'd be saying something, my girls be like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a filter." So I can be really, really direct sometimes, and I really do say what's on my mind. Like a lot of people beat around the bush. I'm not a beat around the bush type of person. So, but a lot of people do beat around the bush. So I definitely think that if you are going to invite somebody to spend the night and it hasn't already gone down, let's have a conversation. Like, is that the expectation? Because I've had male friends who be like, if I can't, I don't want to spend the night because I'm going to want to, and I'm not going to be able to sleep and, you know, uh, next to her. So I don't want you to be disappointed. And I definitely am not going to be disappointed in my own self. So let's definitely have a conversation before we go that route. Any other questions? Or,
I was laughing and you're like, you're not a beat around the bush type person. I was like, no, she a beat the bush type of person.
Like Kyrie say, I don't invite you to my house. I live. This is my domain. This is where my kids are. I'm saying, if you guys have the conversation, you coming over to stay at my crib. Like, okay, so what we gonna do?
No, Alicia's a Virgo, so she's very much tell it like it is, like to the max. And that's the thing I do love about you guys both because everybody has such different perspectives and everybody is just really just being themselves. And I love that because y'all don't get on here and cap. Like Kyrie ain't telling you something that she hasn't lived. I remember when Kyrie was single, yes, baby, 9 o'clock at night. If she was talking to a guy, she's like, "Oh, I just got off the phone with so and so," and I'm like, "What?" Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I told him, you know what I mean. So she really lived that life. Like I used to make fun of her. I'm like, "Girl, you ain't gonna be able to find nobody." Like, come on. She's like, "I'm gonna find the right person who's willing to work with me," and she did. She found somebody who 9 o'clock at night didn't scare him. You know what I mean? And so Alicia, the same thing, just people really being true to themselves. Alicia, like, what's the expectation? And I know that's Alicia because Alicia, she may not be down for that. So she's like, I need to know what your expectation is so I don't have to get up in here and go to blows with you because some people get crazy. And so you find out things and it's like, you was like that if you wasn't going to get the box. Like, honey, something else turns up in you. Yeah, your representative shows up, baby.
Your representative, that's the word I'm looking for. Representative, and you had him out as long as you needed him to be out in order to get what you want. And then when you didn't get what you want, then the real you comes out and be like, oh, okay. So ladies, tell him no first to see how he's going to act. Even if you are really considering sleeping with him, let him show you who he really is when you say no.
Hmm. I fully agree because you don't ever know who people are until they don't get their way. So, and I'm not saying like some people say, well, that's playing games. No, it's not. We live in a day and age where it's not safe for a lot of people. People are going on first dates and not coming home because somebody got mad and was like, well, I bought you a drink and you drank it up. I'm getting something in this car. No, it's not because that is called something that starts with a hard R, baby. You can go to jail for that. So I was watching something this morning on some little news program, and they were talking about how people switch up if they don't get the box baby. A demon comes out. That's like, you're not entitled to this thing. It's not under your warranty. It's not guaranteed. So, yeah. But yeah.
I know. What is that about guys? Like, if they don't get what they want, which is sex, for some men, they just turn into completely different people, and that shows you the type of person they are. They brought their represent that pussy tax. At least I was talking about what you would drink.
It's a real pussy tax. Like, I'm taxing something. You know what I'm saying? You giving up something, ain't. You know? Mom, just stop watching at this point because
Yeah.
just stop watching because I don't know what else might come in my mind. All right, folks. So let's just do a real quick recap of this is chapter 43, Can You Stay the Night Part 2. And this is the next morning. This is after Chan has stayed the night and Malia's waking up and he brings her breakfast in bed and he lets her know, like, you need to stay home from work today and we're going to work here together from the house. And so he takes some time off. That was really, really sweet. But what we see now is the introduction of Chan's daddy. We've been talking about the Kong family and just a little bit of who these people really are. And baby, when I tell you Mr. Kong, the daddy, is a real savage, like he makes Chan look not so bad. You know what I mean? So we also see another player by the name of Jessica. She shows up, honey, and she's a whole hussy. She's a hussy. She shows up and she does the most as well. And she gets played, baby. Like she played herself. And Mr. Kong exposed it and she felt stupid. But anyways, we're just seeing that with Chan. We're starting to see him kind of going back and forth. He knows a little bit about, well, he knows everything his dad does. I'm not saying a little bit, but you can kind of see where he's drawing some lines in the sand, like, this is who I am and this is what I want to be, but that's not what I want to be over there. So, he kind of looking at his daddy sideways about a few things. Yeah, like that's really the gist of it. What are your ladies' thoughts?
Well, Mr. Kong has a mouth on him. Boy, I was really feeling some kind of way about how he was talking to Jessica. Even granted, she kind of walked herself down that rabbit hole, but still, he didn't have to talk to her like that. So that was a part that I was just like, woo! Wanted to jump through this book real quick. Show Mr. Kong who we are nowadays. You don't talk to women like that. We get with your program, sir. So that was the part for me in this chapter.
So, yes, Mr. Kong has definitely said some fighting words. There's no way you get off of your knees and be talked to like that. Like, and she allowed it. Stuff would have flew, a saber, a shoe, something needed to fly. Like, sir, until I get home to diss me. I mean, damn, I just served you. Are you serious? As Jessica, not Lee. Yeah, and it's a whole beast, a whole nother level. They immediately do that, and then about, well, when the other girls call out sick, if I want some, maybe you could get some, or that's when I'll have a use for you, or I'm like, oh, okay, you really want to fight? So definitely disrespectful.
Didn't even say thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Kong was an animal. What would you want to say, Kyrie? Go ahead.
No, I said it. I said he didn't even say thank you. I was listening to Alicia talking about, I just got done servicing you.
Baby, she tuned up his engine and he was really done for it. But I think what we'll find out, oh baby, the engine was serviced. Like, and then he wasn't satisfied with the job. Like, what? All that working for nothing? Okay, I think the part with Jessica that it almost like something set him off. And I think it was because she asked about his son. So what we find out in this chapter is Jessica's an opportunist. And baby, she throw pussy, okay? She's an opportunist. And she said, I'm going to use what the Lord gave me to see if I can get a step up in life. So she's been working for the Kong family. And But she had her sights set on Brother Chan. Like, she was like, he fine. So that's who she wanted. That's initially who she was feeling. And so she did like devise this little plan, like, okay, he's not paying me any attention. How do I get in this family? So what she did was she started, being like a little bit closer to dad, which was absolutely a big fat no. And in the process, she's like, I would be a really good daughter-in-law for you because I can do A, B, C, and D, blah, blah, blah. And so they get off into this sexual relationship. And she's telling him, I still want to date your son and we can keep our thing on the side too, but like I'm really good at my job here and it would be like I could help the family out in so many ways. And Mr. Kong's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put a good word in for you. So now 2 years has gone by of her being taxed and there's been no his results with Chan. And she hasn't seen that yet. And Daddy has been leading her on thinking that all, getting close with him is gonna lead her to his son. It's really like on some soap opera stuff because you'd be like, where does that happen at? On soap operas. And guess what? I was homeschooled as a kid and I grew up in the 90s watching Days of Our Lives. All my children, General Hospital, Passion, all of that foolishness. So that's where that happens. That's what happens when you're supposed to be in school and your parents are both working and the kids are at home watching soap operas because that is what grandma would have been watching in front of the kids. So, hey, don't forget to check out Rose City merchandise. It is the perfect way to show your love and support for the show. From comfy tees to cool mugs and tumblers, there's something for everyone. Head over to our website and grab your favorites. The link is in the description below. Thank you. Now back to our show. Whatever. So that's where that happens, even in telenovelas. So this is what happens when you play yourself. You get played. She immediately was like, you know what? I'm getting tired of these wrinkles. What's up with your son, though? And he was like, you gonna just ask me about my son after I didn't got some? Mr. Kong let off, honey. He told her all about herself. He told her she had mediocre cat. He told her it wasn't that good. You better be glad you got a mouth and another, it was just a lot. Like he broke her down, you know what I'm saying? Systematically. He let her know what she was good at. And he was like, you know what? Because you won't keep asking about my son. I think he thought that was out of her spirit. I think he felt like she hadn't asked about it probably in a few months. He's probably thinking she liking what daddy's giving. She liked this old man, right? But she wasn't. She was still wanting some of that young meat. Okay. See, I have to try to like calm myself down a little bit because I get real crazy with it. But anyways, she still wanted Chan, and she just was like putting her clothes back on, like, have you talked to your son yet? And he was like, oh, okay, so you're going to ask right now, and we both putting our clothes about my son. So you was with me, but you was thinking about him. Okay. And he had to let her know your services are no longer needed. Go get that fine little thing down there in accounting. Tell her I'm going to need y'all to switch places because I'm sick of you. Mr. Kong was a total animal. I worry for Malia. I worry for Malia because Mr. Kong don't have no filter. He say what's on his mind. She still hasn't met the family folks. If this is a preview into what this family could be like, Malia, it's time for exorcism. It might get real bad up in this being. Like, you might just have to leave and be on the run with that life. So, I don't know. Anything else before we go on to questions, ladies? All right. Well, thank you so much for enjoying our recap with us. We're going to hand it over to the lovely Kyrie for the first question.
All right. Our first question says, I love that Chan made Malia breakfast in bed. It shows he truly cares about her. Do you think it was his place to call Eva and tell her Malia wouldn't be at work? When should Malia define boundaries in her relationship with Chan? I don't feel like him bringing her breakfast in bed shows he really cares about her. I mean, that was a sweet move, but that's a very strong. Oh, it shows he cares about her. Okay, it was nice. I mean, he tracks her. That shows he really cares about her. But, so yeah, okay, it was a sweet move. I do not think it was his place to Eva. Absolutely not. But I get it. I get the sentiment. I wouldn't be mad, but she definitely needs to define those boundaries right now because you could tell she felt some type of way about it. And anytime you start feeling some type of way about it, that's the time to talk about it. Don't wait because it's going to get worse. Those feelings are going to start building up and building up. And by the time you eventually say something, it's going to come out a lot worse than if you had said it when you were first feeling it. So I do think they need to have that she needs to have that conversation with him, like, hey, I appreciate the thought of why you did this, but please consult me next time, because this is my business. I run this company. You might be boss of what you're doing, but you're not the boss of what I'm doing. So I definitely think she needs to, and I don't think she's going to, because she's really, tipping on eggshells, because she doesn't want to come off too strongly, because it's still, a new relationship. So she's still feeling her way around, so, but I definitely think she needs to.
She definitely needs boundaries now. Now, back to Alicia, you're breakfast in bed. Ooh, especially I love me some French toast. I mean, it's right up there with cheesy bread. You bring some French coffee and then follow that with, oh, and I called your job and be here today. Sir, now all of a sudden this maple syrup bitter taste. Like, I'm mad. Like, don't do that. I could do that. Give me the opportunity, the decision y'all come to together that you make. And Aaliyah felt conflict. She didn't say it out loud in her head. She's like, wait a minute. I like people make decisions for me. I was independent. I always did my own thing. And now, how we got here, but we're here and blah, blah, blah. He's fine, but definitely she needs to set the boundaries, because that build up, it might be just a little itch at a time. And then by the time you finally do let it out, it's a whole stab in the neck. It's going to be way worse, because now you got all these instances. Instead of one instance, it's like, you always fucking do this. Excuse my mouth. But, and it's going to come out way worse than it should have. So, yeah, I don't think it was his place to do that first. That should have been a decision. And yeah.
I fully agree. I definitely think that is something that should have been discussed. But again, here we have Chan, baby. He doesn't take no. He doesn't take questionnaires from people. He tells people what to do. He's used to telling and ordering, his whole operation. But Malia's not an operation. I mean, I guess she is, but she's not. But she is an operation. But yeah, she's a person. And I definitely feel like if he would have talked with her that morning, he's like, hey, babe, you had a really rough day yesterday. The police are still looking for oh crazy. I'm thinking that maybe me and you both could take the day off. Like, I would really want us to be together and just make sure you're good, and then let her do that. Oh no, because I'm a businesswoman and things I have to do. And then he's like, babe, but you got Eva there, and she's like second in command, and she knows everything that's supposed to be done. And Eva really runs a lot of stuff. She's the glue that holds it all together, really, for Malia. So it's like, if you don't show up for the next year, it'll still go down because Eva's got it together, right? So you got Eva, you got all the other girls who are working there. Like, at some point you have to take mental health days for yourself. So I mean, I think that definitely could have been a conversation. I think Malia would have been very much like, you're right. I had a big meeting yesterday and that went really well. Today, I can do what I need to do from home. But I think it's about also getting your mind together, because I don't know about nobody else, I struggle with, if I have my day planned a certain way and then other stuff starts happening, that really pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie. I get really super irritated, because I'm like, no, I knew I was supposed to do this at this time. I know what I'm gonna do. Even if I don't have nothing to do, I still know what I'm doing, right? Then all of a sudden I start getting all these phone calls. Like, my husband will call and be like, my lunch box at that, over at the house, or can you bring me my work boots? And I'm like, I'm gonna do it because I love you. But that just kind of threw around my day a little bit, even though I ain't had nothing planned to do. I like to know what I have going, because I get anxiety. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I have anxiety issues, and so I have to give myself enough time to plan what's going on. So if you already know I got to go into the office, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other, then your day gets changed. It's like, okay, I have to do all this from home now. You can still do it because you have your computer, but I just think it's a frame of mind change. There's nothing wrong with her staying home, but babe, let's just talk about it a little bit. So, when should Malia start defining boundaries about things that she doesn't like? It should be now. Malia is not a child. She's not used to a person coming into her life telling her this is how it's going to be, and I dare you to question me, and you see what happens next. She's not used to that. Like, that's some stuff you do when you're a kid. Your parents tell you to do something, and you better not give them any back talk. She's not used to now. Father, may I take 2 steps to the left? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, now is the time to define it. I love the fact that he wants to take care of her. I love a man who's on his A game. I love a man, who's showing up and wants to take care of things. But with that, we do need to have conversations because we're grown. Just like I'm sure men love when a woman is taking care of him, nurturing him, making sure he's good, but he still wants to feel like he's in control of himself. So that's my thoughts.